Howdy folks. Today I got a few high-proof rums to show you. I'll tell you all about them. Maybe we'll even learn something along the way. Okay, so I got these 4 white rums. They're all unaged and very high-proof, overproof you might say. We got Wray and Nephew overproof. We got Hamden's Rum Fire. We got Rivers Antoine from Grenada, and Sunset from St. Vincent. But before we talk about those rums, I wanted to say a few words about the term overproof, because 2 of these bottles are actually labeled overproof. But this term really doesn't even have a current legal definition at all, but it does have a historical meaning. Now the concept goes back to the British Navy. Unlike today's system where the proof is just twice the alcohol by volume, the British system was a little bit more complicated. The British had what they called a proof strength, which was a reference proof or reference strength that they compared other spirits to. So spirits that were more than this reference proof would be called overproof, and spirits that were under this reference proof would be called underproof. So in modern terms, the reference proof or the proof strength was 57.14% alcohol by volume. So anything that's over 57 would be called overproof, and anything under 57 is underproof. And they would express this as a percentage. So, for example, this bottle of Glenfarclas 105, it's called 105 because it's 105 proof in the old British system. Under the old system, you would take 57.14, that's the reference proof. You'd multiply that by 1.05, because it's 5% over, and you would get 60%. Exactly what this is. This is 60% alcohol by volume. Now, interestingly, Navy strength is defined as 4.5 degrees under proof. So that would be 95.5% of 57.14, which calculates out to 54.5% alcohol by volume. So if you see a bottle labeled Navy strength, historically it should be 54.5, which would be 109 proof in today's terminology. Like this Worthy Park 109 is 54.5. It's bottled at Navy strength. It doesn't say Navy strength on the label, but that's what it is. And then there's other bottles like Smith & Cross that are labeled Navy strength, but they're at 57. They're actually at reference strength. They're at proof strength, not at Navy strength. Now, it doesn't really matter, but Navy strength doesn't really have a legal definition. It does have this historical definition, so if they were going to put Navy strength on, they should actually make it Navy strength. But whatever. Okay, let's try some rum. First up, we got Wray and Nephew White Overproof. It's from Jamaica. It is 63% alcohol. Now, if you're not familiar with Wray and Nephew, you should really get yourself a bottle. It's not very expensive. It gets called for in a few tiki drinks, and it's good to have around for tinctures sometimes if you're making bitters, if you're going to make a liqueur or something. It's a good thing to have in your home bar, and it's the standard for white overproof rum. Definitely the place to start. Like I said, if you haven't tried this, I don't know what you're waiting for. Okay, Wray and Nephew Overproof. It's got a sort of very familiar Jamaican kind of funk to it, but not like an overpowering. It's like a creamy vanilla kind of aroma. And by the way, Wray and Nephew also owns Appleton Estate. They're made in different distilleries. This is made in the New Yarmouth distillery. But yeah, let's give it a taste. Ooh, it's strong. Yeah, it's fruity. For 63%, it doesn't really burn that much. It's got a very pleasant fruitiness to it. So yeah, this is basically the standard by which other white rums are going to be judged. So I decided to start with it. I've had it a lot. It's very good. Can't recommend it enough. I'm going to get some water. So next up is Rum Fire. It is also from Jamaica, also 63%. It's from the Hamden Estate Distillery. It's called Rum Fire, and it's got this very zany label that's a bit off-putting. Now, I've talked about Hamden Estate before on this channel. They're a very old distillery from Jamaica that has been putting out a lot of rum lately under their own name. So let's give this a taste. Okay, I immediately get a stronger aroma off of the Rum Fire. Hamden Estate has a sort of distinctive aroma. It's a sort of briny, salty olive kind of aroma, but also that sort of rotting fruit kind of overripe mango that you kind of expect from Jamaican rums. Okay, this is also very good. Maybe a little more complex than the Wray and Nephew. Wray Nephew's great if you need like a sort of neutral base to pump up some other flavors. It's not gonna really get in the way. Rum Fire is a lot more complicated. It can be a little bit more overpowering if you were trying to use it in a liqueur or something like that. But it should really stand up to a cocktail pretty well. I mean, Rum Fire. Yeah, Rum Fire is delicious. More complex than the Wray and Nephew, but in a similar vein. Now, things get just a little bit more interesting. The next rum up is Rivers Antoine. It's from Grenada. Grenada is a Caribbean island. It is sort of the southernmost Caribbean island. It is just north of Venezuela. Now, the Rivers Antoine distillery looks like an extremely interesting place. It is super old. It's been there since 1785. In 1840, they installed a wooden water wheel. They divert water from the river to power this water wheel that turns the mill that crushes the sugarcane. And it's still there and it's still running, and they still use the water wheel to crush the cane. They also boil down the sugarcane juice there to up the sugar percentage, not all the way to molasses, but they make a sort of cane syrup. They use wild fermentation. They have 2 copper pot stills that are wood fired. So if you're not aware, heating your still with wood is like the most unsophisticated, least precise way of doing it. Anyway, it sounds wild. This stuff is 69% alcohol, which is actually the lower proof of the 2 that they make. The other one is more like 75, but they're not really sure because they're not 100% sure what the proof is when it comes off the still. They just run it off the still, bottle it, and sell it locally. And I guess 69% is just under the amount you can take on an airplane, so this is the stuff for tourists. Okay, Rivers Antoine. Immediately on the nose, it's sweeter smelling. It's got sort of a vanilla character to it. The aroma actually reminds me of a Claren. I've made videos about Clarens before. You can check that out if you want to. And this is also imported by La Masson and Vellier, which is who also imports the Claren to the United States. So they're seeking out these sort of more unusual, less refined rums. Let's give it a try. Yeah, I mean, the alcohol burn is real, but it has such an interesting, fruity, sweet, creamy flavor, and it's got like a thick, viscous feel to it. Yeah, that is really remarkable, and it does remind me of a Claren in a lot of ways. It's very good. It's a very sort of raw cane flavored, if that makes sense. Okay, lastly we have Sunset Strong Rum from St. Vincent. St. Vincent is an island north of Grenada. It's the next one up, basically. There's a few little islands in between those 2 called the Grenadines. And I don't have a fun spinning bottle for this one because I got this as a sample from my friend Jame at Ready Set Rum. There's a few different rums they make in St. Vincent, including Captain Bligh XO and one called Sparrow, and he did a whole video reviewing all those rums. I'll leave a link in the description. You should go check out that video if you want to learn more about rums from St. Vincent. Now this Sunset Rum clocks in at 84.5%, which is bonkers. I don't recommend drinking this straight. Probably would be okay added to a punch or something. I'm just gonna taste a little bit just to see what it's like. All right, here we go. Hopefully I can handle this. 84%. I'm gonna put a little water in it actually right away. Drinking 84.5% rum undiluted seems irresponsible. It doesn't have a ton of aroma. A little bit of a sweetness. I mean, at 84%, it's almost like a vodka. I mean, doesn't burn as much as I would have thought. Ooh, it's got like a little bit of a spiciness to it, like a roasted flavor almost. Huh. I mean, it's not terrible. But at 84.5%, I'm not sure how useful it is, and I can't even get it here, so I'm not really going to seek this out. Well, I was braced for that to be pretty bad, but it's actually just not terrible. I only had a tiny sip, and that might work in some sort of a punch or something to pump up the alcohol content. It's got a little bit of a spiciness to it, but it's mostly pure alcohol. Okay, some conclusions on these high-proof white rums. Wray and Nephew is a classic. If you're starting out, get Wray and Nephew. Rum Fire from Hampden Estate, a little more complex than the Wray and Nephew, but very, very good. By the way, Worthy Park also makes an overproof white rum under the Rum Bar label. I can't get that here, otherwise I would have included it in this video. Rivers Antoine is really good. Vanilla, creamy, like a thick texture to it. A little bit difficult to get, but if you're a rum nerd, you definitely want to try this. And Sunset, I don't know if Sunset is something that anyone really needs to have in their life. At 84.5%, I'm not sure how many uses it has, but I was fascinated to try it. All right, hopefully that was interesting or informative. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Thanks for liking and subscribing. We'll see you next time.